Hey everyone, welcome to Firewall Analyzer Pre-Training Part 2. Introduction about myself. Hey everyone, I'm Vikram, subject matter expert in enterprise security management, and I'll be your presenter for today. Before we start the session, let us look at briefly on what we are going to cover today. First, we'll need to look at why log monitoring and why specifically Firewall Analyzer. Next, we'll look at some of the basics of Firewall Analyzer, such as the steps to fetch firewall logs, an overview on the reports that are generated, and after the reports, we'll dive deep into the use cases on how to look at the various reports, such as the VPN reports, traffic reports, security reports, and also custom reports and search reports. Finally, we're also going to cover how to set alarm notifications for various triggers. So let us address the most important question in hand, that is, why log monitoring and why specifically Firewall Analyzer? The network and network security landscape, as we know, is rapidly changing. And to stay ahead of this change, security admins are working around the clock to install new network security devices like your IDS, IPS, proxy, and even VPN over and above the existing firewall. However, this hasn't deterred the cyber criminals, and they are only finding new ways and different segments to attack every day. So this raises a serious question. Does merely adding multiple network security devices and tools protect your network from security breaches? Evidently not. You need a tool which monitors all your network security devices and periodically identifies internal and external threats on a real-time basis. Using Firewall Analyzer, a log, policy, and configuration monitoring tool which helps in keeping track of security and traffic logs. It helps in alarm management, that is notifying you about attacks and bandwidth anomalies. It helps with inventory reports, which contain details about each individual firewall devices and all of their respective performance metrics. And it also has rule management, that is helping you to manage and optimize all your firewall related rules. And then it has configuration monitoring and backup, which helps you to manage and identify who made what changes to your firewall configuration and when and where these changes were made. And it also helps you to take a configuration backup, which will be pivotal to use during network disaster. And finally, we have compliance management, which helps you to identify firewall misconfigurations with its out-of-the-box reports. In today's session, we are going to briefly cover the log analysis, that is helping you to derive in-depth log-based reports, alarm management, and also inventory reports. The other three sections of Firewall Analyzer, that is the rule management, config monitoring, and compliance management, was discussed in detail in the previous session, which happened 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks before today. And we'll be sending you a recording of the last session as well, along with today's session, so that you will get a comprehensive idea of the webinar that has happened on Firewall Analyzer. So let us look at some of the basics of installation and configuration requirements to fetch your firewall devices logs into Firewall Analyzer. So the first step that you have to do is to install the product, and the installation requirements will be shared with you, or in case you want to take a look at it now, it is available on our website. And once you install Firewall Analyzer on your device, the second step you need to do is to fetch the firewall logs belonging to your firewall devices. So to set up the firewall logs, you need to configure your device to send syslogs via the UDP port number 1514. So in case the port number 1514 is not free, an alternate free port needs to be selected. And once Firewall Analyzer is installed, Firewall Analyzer must be directed to receive the syslogs from this new port. Since the default port is 1514, and when that is not available, you redirect the tool to a different port. And following this, we have two other ways to export syslogs to Firewall Analyzer. So the first one is what we discussed, asking you to forward your syslogs to port 1514. So the second way is to import the log files and configuration files of your firewall device directly onto Firewall Analyzer. That is the second way. And in addition to that, we also have the manual mode of addition of firewall devices to Firewall Analyzer, which only requires your IP address and a DNS name. And once you have those two information, without the requirement of any syslogs, we allow you to directly add firewalls to Firewall Analyzer. So that part is specifically set up for MSSPs who want to monitor a large client base without asking for their syslogs. So that's that. So once you're done with that, the next step would be for the Firewall Analyzer tool to start generating various reports such as security reports, VPN reports, bandwidth reports, etc. That would be step 3. And finally, fourth step of getting started would be alarm management, which allows you to start triggering alarm notifications for any anomalies that are detected in your network. So once you're done with all of the prerequisites, you install the product, configure your firewall device, and get it discovered by the tool. Firewall Analyzer gives you a wide range of reports. So what are the reports that are available? You can see them on the screen. So first, the tool gives you VPN reports, which provide detailed VPN analysis that helps you to plan your VPN bandwidth and capacity. And then we have firewall reports. So these are a combination of firewall security and traffic analytics. And then you have the dashboard and inventory reports. So these reports give you a high-level overview of all the firewall stats. And fourth, we have proxy server report. So these reports are generated by analyzing your Squid proxy servers that are discovered and added to Firewall Analyzer tool. And then you have custom reports. So in case you want to customize the log reports, you can do that using our custom reports feature. And finally, you can also perform forensic log analysis using the search report. So these are the set of reports that are available in Firewall Analyzer. All right. So since the pandemic in 2020, the work environment, as we know, no longer exists. And to cope with this, companies have moved to a hybrid work landscape. So the hybrid work is nothing but a combination of work from home and work from office, or in most cases, work from anywhere. However, as a security admin, this poses a lot of security and bandwidth issues. So in today's use cases, wherever applicable, we will cover network security and bandwidth management for your VPN infrastructure in detail. So for those who attended the previous webinar, they'll know who Jim is. And for people who are new to this session, let me tell you, Jim is a security admin. He's an imaginary admin, and he has joined a company which has adopted a hybrid work approach. And they are giving him a lot of tasks that are associated with network security. And let us see how Jim navigates through all of those tasks by using Firewall Analyzer to overcome the issues. All right, so moving on. Right, so most organizations, as I said, have moved towards a hybrid workplace culture. And for this hybrid work to be successful, many organizations implement a dedicated VPN or virtual private network. And the very same VPN connections that enable the employees to work from remote locations can also lead to a security lapse if it is not properly monitored, thus making VPN traffic monitoring one of the most important functions for any network security admin. And Firewall Analyzer luckily generates in-depth VPN reports which help you to identify and track the amount of traffic that is consumed by VPN users. It helps you to identify the number of users that are connected to your VPN. It helps in monitoring the active VPN user session and the bandwidth that has subsequently been consumed. And finally, it also helps you to track the VPN consumption and give you a detailed consumption trend. So let me take you to the product to show you how our VPN related UI looks like. So for that, going to the tool, and to look at VPN reports, you go to reports, and under reports, you click on VPN reports. All right, so for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to choose all of my firewall devices. So here I have the option to generate this report for any single firewall device or for all my devices. I'm choosing all my device, and I'm generating this report for a period of last 30 days. All right, so here you have the data. So these are the set of VPN related reports that are available in Firewall Analyzer. So here you have active VPN count, VPN sessions. Here you have top users that tells you how many times someone is connected to the VPN. And then you have VPN usage, you have VPN status report. It tells you the number of users and the status with respect to VPN connections. Then you have VPN overview, where you can see what are the devices that are used to connect to VPN. Likewise, we have several other VPN-based reports, and all of these reports, I'll be taking you through each and every one of them by giving you detailed, specific use cases. All right, moving back. So the company in which Jim has joined has assigned him a series of tasks, and the first task that they have asked him to work on is to identify which users are currently logged into the VPN. This is especially useful to check if employees are logging into the company server and their activity status. So let us look at how this can be done using Firewall Analyzer. So for that, I'm taking you to the product, and to look at active VPN count, under reports, under VPN reports, you select the active VPN users button. So here you get a list of all the users who are currently active. And remember, this data is for all of my firewall devices for a period of 30 days. So these are the ones that are currently active. And in addition to simply telling you that these are the active users, you also get further information like the assigned IP, start time, duration for which they are connected to the VPN, and also the firewall device through which the VPN was accessed. So with this information, Jim gets a clear understanding as to who has been logged in, who has been active, and you can also schedule this report to any management that will automatically receive this report at a periodic interval. So to schedule this report, you simply have to select the schedule option that is present at the top. You select that, and over here you give this report a name. Let's call this VPN report, and you choose the firewall device for which you want to generate this report. Hit next. And over here in the schedule option, you can choose between hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or even once. So once you do that, you select a date, choose the format in which you want the report, hit next. And over here, if you want to have this sent to you over your email or notified to you over your email, you can enable this option. So here you give your email address, choose the subject line, and hit save. Since the name already exists, give this a different name, and the same steps, hit save. And once I'm done with that, you can see that the newly created report has been added to the report profile section. All right, going back to the presentation. So on to the next use case. So now that Jim has visibility into the active users of VPN, the company wants Jim to understand the employees and their usage of VPN, and this needs to be both the active and the completed sessions. So in addition to this, the management also wants them to send this data on a weekly basis. So let's see how Jim understands both active and completed session users using Firewall Analyzer. So for that, going back to the product, again, I'm choosing all devices, running this to a period of 30 days. And over here, I'm choosing VPN sessions. All right. So here you get a list of all the active as well as users whose sessions are completed. So this will give you a list of all the users that are active, and the ones that are marked in green are the ones that are active. You can see their status over here. And the ones marked in gray with the status as disconnected are the ones who have ended their session. So in addition to simply telling you who's been logged on and logged off, you also get to understand what is the amount of bandwidth someone has consumed, and you also get to know from which device the VPN was accessed. So with this, let's say, for example, the management specifically wants to know how long someone has been active and how much bandwidth someone has consumed using the VPN. You can use this report to submit an answer to them. Once again, to schedule this, simply choose the schedule option and call this weekly report. And as the company wants him to send a weekly report, you choose weekly over here, choose the date in which you want this data to be generated, and click next. And in case you want to fill up the mail information, do that and hit save. And yes, you are taken back to the report section with all of the VPN related information. All right, so moving back to the deck. So now that the use case is taken care of, let's move on to the third use case. So now that a majority of the resources, that is the employees, are joining the VPN network, it becomes extremely important to plan and allocate bandwidth. Say if a single employee is hogging all the bandwidth, the same would slow down for other employees. Hence, as a third task, Jim has been asked to identify more details on VPN user activity and connection trend. So let us look at how Jim does this using Firewall Analyzer. So taking you back to the product, and over here to get the required information, you go to top users. So here you get a list of all the users, how many times they have connected, and how much bandwidth they have consumed, and the duration in which this data was consumed. And to understand more about these users, simply click on that, and here you will get the number of times that this user has logged on, and the assigned IP, the start time, end time, and all of those information. So with this, Jim can create a report which helps him to identify the top users or the number of users who have logged into the VPN into the network using VPN. All right. So next, moving on to the fourth task that is assigned to Jim, which is to identify the active VPN connection count for a specific firewall. So why does Jim's company need him to do this? Most devices offer a limited number of VPN connections, and the cost goes higher as the number of connections go up. Hence, it is extremely critical to plan the VPN capacity on the dot. And purchasing excess capacity would only result in excess IT spend, and purchasing lesser capacity would result in performance and productivity issues. Hence, Jim needs to monitor the connections for a specific firewall. So to show that to you, I'm taking you back to the product. And for this, under VPN reports, you go to VPN overview. All right, so under overview, say for example, I'm choosing a specific device, say I'm choosing Cisco firewall. So all of these details are for only my Cisco ASA firewall device over here. And here you can get to understand the maximum number of sessions for a specific firewall. So here you can see that the maximum number of active sessions for my Cisco is around 8. So let's say that you only planned for a maximum connection of around 5, then this becomes a problem. Hence, at any point of time, there are going to be around 8 people, and you only have access for only around 5 people. This will lead to a loss of productivity, since there are around 3 people who will not be able to log in through your Cisco ASA firewall into your VPN net. So with this report, you can clearly identify what or how many connections you need to optimally have in your infrastructure to make sure that you have a seamless VPN experience. All right, so the next use case that is assigned to Jim is to identify the failed VPN login attempts. In Jim's company, a lot of employees are complaining that they did not log in since they were unable to do so. And hence, Jim has been asked to proactively reach out to these employees and fix their failed logins, since this will not only increase productivity, but also help in identifying multiple login attempts. So given that people are working from home, you don't know if your Wi-Fi is compromised and if someone is trying to enter into the enterprise network using the VPN. So once again, keeping track of your failed VPN login attempts is an important thing to keep track of. So let us look at how this can be done using Firewall Analyzer. So taking you back to the product, and over here you go to VPN reports. All right. And over here you have something called top failed VPN users. So here you can see that there are several hits, and which means that Jim can proactively reach out to this user, this admin user, and ask him what problems he faced when he is trying to log in, help him and fix this issue so that this no longer exists. And to understand more, simply click on it and you'll get more details on what is the login attempts that has been made by this specific user. All right, on to the next use case. So now that a lot of employees are accessing the network via VPN, for device and bandwidth allocation purposes, it becomes extremely important that Jim identifies the busiest hour and the leanest hour and plan the VPN infrastructure accordingly. So say, for example, there is going to be a release, or let's say that there is a product release that happens on the second week of every month, and you do not understand this trend and you plan for VPN as usual. So what is going to happen is when this release is happening, a large amount of employees will try to log in. And when this trend is not understood, this could lead to a loss of people, a loss of productivity, and people being unable to log into the network. So let us look at how Jim uses VPN trend reports of Firewall Analyzer to understand the trend and usage spikes momentarily. Going back to the product, and over here you have the VPN trend reports. And to give you more data to understand this particular report, I'm going to take you to our online demo tool, which is demo.fwanalyzer.com. So this is available online, free of cost, and you simply have to enter this into your search bar and you'll be taken to our online portal. So this gives you the freedom to check out all of our features, and in case you have any specific feature that is piquing your interest, you can check them out over here. And in case you have any queries on any of our features, you can type it out in the Q&A chat panel that is present at the top left corner of your webinar window. And we have technicians who are ready and waiting to answer any questions from our participants during the session. All right, so moving on to VPN trend reports. So for this, you go to reports, and under reports, you go to VPN reports. And over here, you choose the VPN trend reports. All right, so once again, I'm having this data for all of my firewall devices. All right, so here you can see the VPN trend on a 24-hour basis, and this is a 7-day basis, and this is a 30-day basis. So here you can see that there is a dip in VPN activity. Likewise, here you can see that there is a spike on Thursdays, and this lasts till the next Tuesday. So with this, you can easily understand the VPN trend and plan your VPN infrastructure and capacity accordingly. All right, so moving on to the presentation. Right, so after VPN reports, the next report that we are going to be looking at is Firewall Analyzer. Next Firewall Analyzer report that we are going to be looking at is firewall reports. These reports are basically classified into two, that is security analytics and firewall analytics, which is on the subsequent slides. So in this slide, we'll be exclusively covering the security analytics. So let's say that till date, the employees that have been working in the office have been protected by the office network. And along with that, they're also protected by a collection of network security devices and strict compliance to various security mandates. So even if a hacker tries to penetrate the network, a combination of smart security monitoring and remediation by the IT team has always protected the enterprise from attacks. However, with the adoption of hybrid work and work from anywhere, this is no longer the case. And hackers have quickly pounced on the situation, and they find remote employees an easy target and use them to eventually get their hands on enterprise data. Hence, it is extremely critical to closely monitor all the security logs. Firewall Analyzer provides a detailed security reports on the attack reports and virus reports, on the top security events, denied events, on the top spam generators, failed logon details, and also top denied URLs and their category. So let me take you to firewall reports and show you how security analytics performs in detail. So for this, I'm taking you back to the product, and over here under reports, you go to firewall reports. All right, give this for a second. And all right, so here you can see that firewall reports is a combination of traffic as well as security reports. And if you scroll down, you can find all of our security reports present over here. And for security reports, we have security reports, virus reports, attack reports, spam reports, and several other reports that are pertaining to network security. And we also have something similar to VPN trend, that is, we have event trend reports that are pertaining to network security. So with this, you get a detailed understanding as to what are the security issues, or which specific destination or which specific host is facing an issue, or if there is any specific IP or any specific protocol that is being used to mount an attack. You can understand all of those metrics right here from all of these relevant security related reports. All right, so moving on. Right, so now let us look at the use case for security reports. So let's say that there have been a lot of attacks happening in Jim's company, and the frequency of these attacks have increased ever since the pandemic. And also because there are a lot of employees that are working in a hybrid or anywhere work. And because of this, the dangers that the network is facing has increased exponentially. Jim's company want to know which protocol is being used by the hackers to mount these attacks. So let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. For this, taking you back to the product, and over here under the series of security reports, I'm going to take you to the attack reports. All right, so Jim wants to know what type of attack and what type of protocol is being used for these attacks. So for that, over here you have top attackers, top targets, top attacks by priority. Likewise, we have top protocols used by attacks. So over here you can see the number of hits that has happened and the major amount of protocol that was used to mount these attacks. So all of these information is available with the click of a button. And in case you want to know more about this particular security incident, simply click on it and you'll be taken through all of these details on the attack that has happened. All right, so moving on. Now that we have covered security reports in detail, we will now move on to traffic analytics. So under traffic analytics, you get detailed traffic usage reports on the different protocols, applications, cloud services, internet and intranet. And apart from this, you also get detailed trend reports on the traffic and events. Let us look at how this looks like from the product UI. For that, I'm taking you back to the product. And right, so over here, you click on traffic reports. All right. So for traffic reports, we have several affiliated reports. That is, we have protocol usage, we have web usage, mail usage, FTP usage. We also have internet and internet report. So there are several traffic related reports that are available in Firewall Analyzer. And with these reports, Jim can easily identify if there is any issue with respect to the traffic or if any specific user is hogging a lot of bandwidth. So to understand the user-based data hogging, here you simply have to scroll down under traffic reports. And here you can see the top users sent plus received. And here you can see these are the users, the number of hits, the percentage of hits, and the total data that they have consumed. So with this, you can, at a single glance, you can see that this particular user has consumed enormous amount of data. And to know more, simply click on that and you'll get to understand what is the protocol, the hits, the bytes received and sent that has been consumed by this user, Chris. All right, so in case you want to have this downloaded in the form of a report, that is also possible. Simply click on, we have PDF, CSV, and we have XLS format. Simply click on that and one-click report will be downloaded, which you can use for your convenience. So in addition to these reports, we also have several other reports, such as web usage reports, FTP usage reports, and multiple others for both security and traffic analytics. So if you are interested in these reports, I implore you to search them and look them up or go through them on our online tool, that is demo.fwanalyzer.com, and go through these reports. And if you have any questions, if you're curious about, hey Vikram, is Firewall Analyzer capable of generating this particular report or this particular metric, you can let us know. You can simply type out your question in the Q&A chat panel, and we have panelists who are ready to answer your questions. All right. Now that we're done with security and traffic analytics, let's move on with the presentation. Next, we are going to look at dashboard and inventory. So the dashboard is nothing but an aggregated report which provides your overview into your firewall reports. So it is nothing but a high-level overview of the firewall traffic statistics, security statistics, and system performance. It gives you live traffic report where you can understand the live traffic data that is passing through your individual firewalls. Then you have VPN reports, which provides active VPN user list and VPN usage details. And then you have users, rules, and cloud control. All of these are the information that has been consumed by your firewall devices, users, and the rules that are triggered, just listed out to you in the form of a bird's eye view for quicker understanding. So let me take you to the product to show you dashboard in detail. All right. So for dashboard, simply you can find a dedicated button at the top left corner. Simply click on it. And yes, here you have the dashboard. So what you see here is the default dashboard, meaning this is always present, which is the overview, traffic, cloud, user, etc. All of these are always present. And as long as your Firewall Analyzer tool has enough data to populate any of them, you can have data for all of these reports by default. So let us look at these reports in detail. First, we're going to look at the firewall summary. So this is a high-level overview of all the traffic and security statistics. Then you have system performance, which provides an overview of CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk space monitor, logs per second, DB count, and thread count. So all of that is available. So following this, we have live traffic. Here you get to see the live traffic through your individual firewalls. So these are the two data that I have right now. And then you have cloud control, which provides information on usage statistics for various cloud-based platforms, such as file sharing services, social media services, business services, cloud applications, and also other cloud services. Then you have VPN, and then we have users. Here you can see the top traffic consumed by users, and then you have rule management, which says what are the rules that are triggered by your firewall, etc. You have security related dashboard view, you have compliance standards, and several others. And in case you're not satisfied with the default report that is provided by Firewall Analyzer, and you want to create your own, we have that option as well. So for that, simply you go to custom, select create new, and select dashboard. Test. Next, and here you can choose the different widgets that you want to have on this particular dashboard and hit next. And then here you can choose to give access only to a specific admins or to all admins. So in case, let's say you have multiple firewall devices and you want each of your admins to work on specific firewalls. So in that case, you can create firewall-based specific dashboards and give access only to those admins so that the other admins will not have access to the rest of the dashboards. Once you're done with that, simply hit create. And here you can see that my sample dashboard has populated with the default widgets that I have chosen. Let's going back to the presentation. So next we're going to look at the inventory-based reports. So inventory report is an individual device-based report, which gives you a status on devices, that is each firewall device that is configured in Firewall Analyzer, on the interfaces, that is all the interfaces that are connected to the configured firewall devices, and users who have generated traffic, cloud services which have been used by the firewall devices, rules, and also user-related information of your firewall device. So let me take you to the product to show you inventory in depth. So going back to the product, here we have a dedicated button for inventory. Simply click on that. And over here, you can see the devices, its interfaces, the number of users, cloud services. Here you can see the use rules, and all of those details are available. You get the information in the form of a graphical representation as well. And here you can choose the time period for which you want to have this data displayed. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Sorry for that. All right. So moving back to the deck. So now let's have a use case for the inventory reports. And let's say that in Jim's company, a lot of attacks have taken place using a single firewall. And Jim has been asked to investigate everything about the attacks from that single firewall. So to understand this, let's see how Jim navigates this particular requirement by using Firewall Analyzer. So for that, I'm taking you back to the product. And let's say that the firewall that is causing all the problems is the FortiGate firewall over here. So you simply click on that. And here you can explore more and get detailed information on the live traffic status. And you get to understand the bandwidth that has gone through this particular firewall. And here you can get the top 10 details, that is top 10 hosts, destinations, protocol groups, internal servers, etc. And then you have the sites that have been active, and check them out over here. And then you have the applications that have been used. These informations are present. And scroll down to get the category-wise report as well. And then here you can see the rules that have been triggered. And finally, you also get the VPN data. Finally, get the security data as well. So over here in the security reports, you can see that we have a list of top attacks, top denied hosts, top denied destinations, top spam, and even denied user logon details. So with this, Jim can understand where an attack has originated from, which specific firewall or which specific IP is having this issue. So Jim gets access to all of these informations using the inventory report. All right, moving on. Firewall Analyzer is also capable of analyzing the syslogs from Squid proxy servers and is capable of generating the following reports. That is URL reports, top talkers report, website details report, and also proxy usage report. So let us look at these reports look like in the product UI. So taking you back to the product, and to view our proxy related reports, simply go to reports and hit proxy reports. All right, so let me generate this data for the past 30 days. All right, so Firewall Analyzer post fetching the data will generate the report for any Squid proxy server that you have fetched the logs for. So once again, you have the URL report over here. You have proxy usage report. You have website details. And you also have top talkers report. All right, so all of these are present by default. All right, so let us take a look at a use case for proxy reports. So let's say that the next task that is assigned to Jim is to find if there have been any proxy virus attacks in the system. And if so, the company wants Jim to know the source of these attacks. Let us look at how Jim identifies the proxy virus attacks using Firewall Analyzer. So going back to the product, and for this, I'm going to take you to the website details. All right, so here, if you scroll down, here you have something called the proxy virus report. So in this report, you get a detailed information of all the proxy virus attacks that has happened. And you also get details as to which is the host, which is the count, and what is the hit percentage. So to understand more on that, simply click on that and you'll be taken to a separate window, which gives you even more information on this particular proxy attack. So once Jim sees this, he can simply block the host or quarantine the specific destination and make sure that such attacks don't happen in the future. And in addition to proxies, Firewall Analyzer also presents Jim with the option to view country-wise traffic. So to access that feature, simply click on country reports. And here you can see, you choose the time frame. Here you can see where you are getting all the traffic from. And in case you want to see that for a specific device, choose that over here. And here you can see that for my Cisco ASA firewall, I'm getting all of my traffic from Canada and USA. So that details is available. All right, so moving on. So next we're going to look at custom reports. That is, if any of the predefined reports do not fit your needs, then customized reports will help you to satisfy your requirements. And Jim, to suit his, to make sure that he gets all of these reports submitted on time, the company has asked him to create a very unique report, one that we don't have a template of. So for this, they want to understand who are the employees that have logged in via the VPN. And they've also been given specific instruction has to exclude the C-level executives, that is the top upper management, from including when this report has been created. So let us look at how Jim can use custom report feature to satisfy this unique requirement of the company. So for that, taking you back to the product, and to access the custom feature, custom report, simply go to reports and go to custom reports. All right, so here to create a new report, simply click on add. All right, so now what you have to do is give this report a name. So let's call this custom VPN report. And here, to satisfy my specific requirement, I'm going to use the filter feature. And to add a new filter, I have to create the add filter. And in case I have added filters ahead of schedule, I can list them. The ones created ahead of schedule will be listed over here. And in case I need them, I can choose them right over here. And to create a new filter, simply hit add filter. So what this filter does is it comes with an include or an exclude option. So since our requirement is to exclude all of the upper management employees from this report's data, we're going to use the exclude filter for this purpose. And I'm going to call this upper management filter. And to exclude, I'm going to add a series of IP addresses. So let's say I'm going to add 168.1.1 and All right, so I'm having this IP. So any employee who falls within this IP range will be excluded when this particular report is made. So in addition to IP addresses, we can also extend this feature to protocols, destinations, events, or even specific users. So once you're done with that, you hit OK, and you can see that this particular filter has been added to the list of filters. So in addition to that, we also have the option to create sub-reports. So to create sub-reports, simply click on Add Report, or in case you have created one for your requirement, you can simply select them out from over here. So here we have a nice set of predefined reports. So to create a new report, simply click on Add Report, and let's call this Management VPN Report. And let's say that this protocol is based on VPN, and here I can choose the graphical representation of this. I can choose the x-axis, y-axis. So once I'm done with that, simply hit on OK, and you can see that this particular report has been created. So in case I want to use a predefined report, I can simply select that from this list over here. So once I'm done with that, I have the option to schedule this report so that I get it on a repetitive basis. And that can be hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, etc. So this is similar to how we discussed the report scheduling earlier. So in case you do not want to schedule this report and only receive it once, you can simply disable that and hit on save. And yes, here you can see the custom VPN report that we have just created. All right, so with this, Jim can clearly define who he needs to include or exclude in his reports by using the custom report option. So not only that, the custom report feature comes with a lot of customizing options, which can help you to suit your very unique requirements in case you have any. All right, so moving on. So next, we are going to look at the search report. So using this report, you can perform forensic analysis for a certain period of time using the log. So the search reports are in two types in Firewall Analyzer. So the first one we have is the aggregated logs. So this provides information based on a specific criteria over a period of time, hence aggregated. So next we have the raw firewall logs. So this provides log analysis from multiple activities, and it helps you to enable forensic analysis for the following: that is raw VPN logs, raw denied logs, and raw attack logs, traffic logs, and even raw device management logs. So let us see use cases for these reports. So the first use case we have is for the aggregate report. All right. So let's say that we have a user who goes by the name Tom over here, and this person is hogging all the bandwidth, and the company has asked our network security admin Jim to generate a report on exactly how much data that user is consuming and the various other details about that one single user. So let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer. So for that, I'm taking you back to the product, and to access the search feature, simply click on search option over here, and under search, you choose the aggregated search option. So now I'm wanting to generate this report for all of my firewalls, or in case I want to exclude them, I can simply do that over here. And in case I want to have only one particular firewall, I can choose that over here. So this is a customizable option. So in aggregate search, let's say that the user goes by the name Tom. All right. Tom is consuming all of the information, all of the large volumes of data. And for that, you simply hit generate. And when you do that, you'll get something like this on the screen. So this is a sample of the data that will be generated when you select the particular user. So with this, you can understand the host, the user, the severity, the events, and also the total amount of data that has been consumed by this particular user, Tom. All right. So we have one more use case, and this is for raw search. And let's say that there have been a lot of attacks on Jim's network, and the frequency of the attack has recently increased. And hence, Jim has been asked to identify all the virus attacks that is happening in the system. So let us look at how Jim identifies this using Firewall Analyzer's raw search option. So for that, taking you back to the product, and under search, you choose raw search. Right, so I'm wanting to generate this data for all of my firewall devices, and I'm going to analyze my raw firewall logs, and I need only my raw virus or attack logs to be analyzed for this particular purpose. and my criteria would be that virus isn't null. So when I have selected that, you can see that once I hit generate, you get a list of all the virus attacks that has happened in the network, and you also get to drill down by using the raw logs for that specific log that was responsible for this attack. So after figuring out where the issue is, if you want to mine and check the issue, you can also do that using the raw search, and hence this is very useful for forensic log operations. All right. So moving on, now we have come to the final section of this webinar, which is alarm management. So you should be knowing by now that setting alarm notifications is a very useful way to identify security events in real time. And in Firewall Analyzer, we have three types of alarm profiles. That is normal alert, which is a real-time alert for any specific activity. Then we have anomaly alert, which is usually used when you want to notify about an event over a period of time. And then you have threshold alert, which is an alert that is triggered when you cross a specific bandwidth threshold. And all of these alarms can be seen in the alarm section of the product UI, which I'll be showing you shortly. And all of these alarms will be notified by Firewall Analyzer to you using email, run script, SMS, and several others. So to configure email and SMS options, you will need to configure the respective email server or SMS server ahead of schedule, so that Firewall Analyzer gets the capability to notify you via email and SMS. So you also have the option to run a script. That is, you need to create an executable program file, and when an alarm is triggered, this program file will automatically run. And in addition to this, we have several other options such as webhook integrations. We have the option to show you a web alarm and multiple others, which I'll be showing you in the product. So before that, let me show you an example of our product UI that contains all of our triggered alarms. All right, so here you can see the triggered alarms that are categorized by severity. And in case you have configured your email or phone number, you will get an alert directly to your email or phone. So these are available as per their severity and categorized accordingly. All right, so now let us take a look at a quick use case for alarm management. And as I mentioned before, now that a lot of employees are working from home and from a hybrid approach, this network is especially vulnerable to attacks. And the company has noticed that they have been receiving a lot of ARP attacks. So for this purpose, the company has asked Jim to create an alarm notification when 5 ARP attacks happen within a time span of 10 minutes. So let us look at how Jim performs this using Firewall Analyzer. So for that, taking you back to the product, and to set alarms, you simply go to settings, and you go to others, and you go to alarm profile. So to create a new alarm profile, simply hit add, and here you give this alarm a name. So let's call this ARP attack, and it will be a normal alert. All right. So, and then we're going to set this to custom, and we're going to select the attack as contains ARP. All right. Okay. That. So we're going to add that. And then you can choose the threshold details. You can set the alert to critical trouble or attention, and you're going to alert for every 5 occurrences of the event that is generated in a span of 10 minutes. And we are assigning this to the admin. So once you're done with that, you have to enable notification, and you can choose any of these options. Excuse me. So here you have email, email-based SMS, and several other options. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to simply choose a web alarm, and I have a web alarm profile template created specifically for this purpose, and I'm going to hit save. All right, here you can see that the newly created alarm profile has been saved. It's set to trouble priority, and you can see all of these metrics over here. All right, so moving on to the next deck. So we have one more use case, and this is the final use case for the day. And the company has noticed that there is a very specific user who is clogging a major part of the bandwidth. And now that VPN bandwidth has become a constrained metric due to limited availability, since more employees are using it, the company wants Jim to create alarm or to create a trigger notification every time this employee John, he uses more than 1 GB of data in a span of 1 hour on social media sites like YouTube. So this is the requirement, and let's see how Jim can use Firewall Analyzer to create this unique alarm profile and mitigate this issue. So taking you back to the product. So to create this custom alarm feature, you go to alarm profile, you hit on add, and let's give this a name. Let's call this, or let's call this John alert. And since this is an alert over a period of time, let's choose anomaly alert. And here I'm going to choose my user is John. All right, and I'm going to choose the app as application is YouTube. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose the threshold details. So in a period of 1 hour, total traffic of all exceeds 1 GB is what is my metric. And I'm going to set this to attention. Now let's set this to critical and assign this to admin number 2. And for every 15 minutes, this check will happen. So I'm setting that over here. And as usual, I'm enabling my notification and choosing web alarm for this purpose. And I'm hitting save. And here I can see that this newly created alarm is available over here. So in case, let's say that we are going over the weekend and you don't want to have certain alerts, alert profiles to be active, you can simply disable them by selecting them over here. So first, we looked at how Firewall Analyzer performs as an effective policy and configuration monitoring tool, and it helps you to identify policy anomalies, used, unused objects and rules. It helps you with in-depth impact analysis for proposed new rules. It helps in identifying your existing rules, and it also comes with out-of-the-box compliance for around 10 security mandates. So these are what we had discussed in the part 1 of the training session. And in today's session, we looked at VPN reports, then we walked through the security analytics and traffic analytics, and finally, we looked at the search reports, which help you to perform forensic log analysis. And finally, we wound up this session by looking at how you can set real-time alarm notifications and get them triggered and notified to you over your email and SMS, which will thereby help you to proactively identify and fix security measures. And finally, Firewall Analyzer supports all major firewall devices. So once again, we'll be sending you a list of all the devices that we currently support. All right, so moving on. So if you want to reach out to us, you can write to us on the email that is given on the screen or ring us at the number that is again displayed on the screen. So in the next slide, I have taken the privilege of adding a very commonly asked question so that I can discuss that with you. Yes, so the question is it possible to get trend reports in Firewall Analyzer? So the answer is yes. We have several trend reports. We have trend reports for VPN. We have, that is over here. We have the trend reports for VPN. We have similar trend reports for your traffic and security metrics. We take you over there. These are present for event trend reports. We have trend reports. We have traffic related trend reports, protocol trend reports, and several other trend reports. All right. So yes, we are present on Capterra, and in case you are an existing evaluator or a customer of Firewall Analyzer, we request you to, in case you want to give us a feedback, we request you to drop the feedback on our on the respective Capterra site and let us know by in the link that I've shared over the chat. You can simply let us know by just telling me that hey, we've given you a review, and for your time and efforts, we'll give you a small gift card worth $25, and that will be done immediately as soon as the review gets published. So following that, we have a list of VPN related metrics, so the related collaterals. So these are available absolutely free of cost on our website. And in case you want to have me send them over to you, please wait till I send you an email containing the recording of today's session, the last session, the part 1 of this training series, and also I'll be attaching a link to download all of these ebooks. So thank you once again for joining and making this session a very interactive place. And I hope you learned more about the product, and stay tuned, and thank you.